What up, everybody? What up, everybody? What up, everybody? It's AC the Engineer back at you with another episode of AC Reviews the World. This is episode 13 now, and it's July 8th. So we got a lot of stuff we got to talk about, a lot of stuff we got to break down. As you know, we had the 4th of July weekend, so it seems like every year something is going crazy during the 4th of July weekend. So we got to talk about that, but we also got to talk about Texas flooding. So the death tolls up to 100 people, more than over 100 people now. So we got to talk about that. So we'll talk about that. And just some other stuff that just I found interesting that came out through the week that I feel like that we want to talk about and that I want to talk about with everyone who's watching. So thank you for watching. Remember, this is AC Reviews the World, and I'm AC the Engineer. So remember to like, subscribe, and follow. But let's jump right into it. And the first thing we're going to talk about, of course, is the Texas flooding. So what I know about the flooding, what I've seen with the research that I have done, it sounded like it rose like 26 feet in 45 minutes, which is absolutely insane to me. I can't imagine it. Mother Nature is a scary mother. Mother Nature is very scary. That's all I can say. But let's jump right into it. So we got a video we're going to watch where it breaks it down. And then just some people who thinking about who should be accountable for it. But I mean, who can be accountable for Mother Nature? But let's jump right over into that. But let's get into it.
And good evening. We come on the air tonight from Texas's hill country. Just below us is the Guadalupe River, and you can see the destruction it carved out in parts of central Texas. Down there is where the river stands tonight, and we wanted to show you how high it rose, more than 30 feet, even higher from where we are broadcasting live tonight, wiping out everything in its way. And today we were with rescuers digging into mangled cars, caked in mud along riverbanks, crews setting out on airboats and diving into the river, all trying to find signs of life. Survivors trapped, airlifted from their homes to safety. You see it right here. The destruction immense. You can see bridge.
That is wild. Like I said, Mother Nature is very scary. Can't imagine just waking up and your house is flooded and you gotta immediately grab who you can and grab your people and run and hopefully be able to make it away from the water, the rising water. But that is absolutely wild.
It just wiped out completely. And new videos showing the quick rise of the nearby Llano River. This in under an hour. Look at that water rise.
People kept backing up.
Camp Mystic grieving the loss, and this is hard to say, of 27 campers and counselors. You can see the heartbreaking images, the high water line inside the cabins where children slept. Wow. Muddy.
So if you're looking, the water line is up to here, above all the beds. What is that? Probably at least 6 feet of water. 6 feet. Oh my God, that's crazy. And all campers, I think this is the little girls' campers. These are
mattresses, stuffed animals, and trunks all left behind. With so many holding out hope, more will be found alive.
Main thing we got to say is that we got to keep everybody in Texas in our prayers. That is crazy. I know a lot of loss, a lot of grieving. If you're grieving, go find someone to talk to. Don't try to just deal with it on your own. Some people can, but some people can't. And that's the problem. They're the people we have to look out for, because you don't want to lose yourself in grief. But that is absolutely tragic. Let's keep going.
Tonight, battling the heat, mud, and misery, they're looking for any signs of life. Search and rescue teams on the Guadalupe River furiously combing through massive mountains of debris.
We're in the middle of the river right now, and just behind me you can see why this search and recovery is so complicated. There are mounds of this mangled steel and tree branches and tree trunks. This team is trying to figure out a way inside to see what, if anything, or anyone is still trapped.
An all-out search for survivors by water, air, and horseback.
All over this area, you see homes and trailers and RVs with this giant orange X. It means they've been searched. We hope whoever lived in here got out, because you can see what the river water did to this, flipping this entire RV over, destroying everything inside.
Volunteer firefighter Wyatt Kelly has been at this for days.
What kind of things have you seen out here?
Unthinkable things. I mean, there's things that no one ever would have thought they've seen in their lifetime.
So many people were in their beds, fast asleep,
That is crazy. Let's back that up just a tad bit.
I mean, there's things that no one ever would have thought they've seen in their lifetime.
So many people were in their beds, fast asleep, when the floodwaters began to rapidly rise early on the 4th of July. The catastrophic flooding killing at least 104 people in 6 counties, including Julian Ryan, who was with his mother, kids, and wife Christina in their trailer home as the water began to rise.
My husband started panicking because there was no way for us to get out. There was no way for us to get up. And so he tried to bust out the window and sliced his arm almost off.
Christina says he quickly began to bleed out.
What do you remember? I'm so sorry you had to see your son go through that.
I just remember holding him so he would get swept in the flood. Blood going everywhere. His last words to me was, "Mom, I love you. And you make sure you tell everybody else I love you. Love them."
Tragedy also playing out at Camp Mystic, which says 27 of its campers and counselors are among the dead and missing. Hallie Thompson's 10-year-old daughter somehow managed to escape from her cabin.
My daughter grabbed onto a tree and grabbed the hand of her friend and put it on the tree. And so one by one, those girls came out and found anything they could cling to.
Hallie and 4 other family members were nearby. Their cabin was also surrounded by water. She says their neighbors saved their lives.
It feels wrong or strange to feel how grateful that I am that we're all alive while we are still waiting for word about friends' daughters, and while we have received word.
That is one of the most... That's something I can't imagine. I cannot imagine. You're feeling relieved that your family made it, but and also you don't know if it's right to feel that way because so many people of your friends and family and neighbors have lost their people and don't know if they're alive or not. That is, I can't imagine going through that. Truly can't imagine.
Of the friends' daughters who've died.
Lila Bonner, Sarah Marsh, Janie Hunt, Eloise Peck, and twins Hannah and Rebecca Lawrence, just some of the young campers whose lives were cut tragically short. Kellyanne Littall is still missing. Her dad posting this video of her solo at a Christmas pageant, asking prayers for a miracle. You can see the flood's devastating toll on this century-old all-girls camp in these images. Look at how high the water came into the cabin. The floodwaters tossing muddy mattresses from bunk beds. This pink trunk with the name L flipped on its side. A stuffed animal left behind. A camp nurse posting this haunting video of some of the little girls singing as they evacuated.
The Lord of love has come to me.
The 4th of July holiday brought many families to the cabins that dot the river's edge.
We don't know everybody who was here, so we don't know everybody who's missing.
Could be even worse, you're saying?
Yeah, it will be worse because we don't know everybody who's missing.
Joe Herron Jr. is the mayor of Kerrville.
Took me completely by surprise. I'm sad to say I didn't know. If there was any way on God's green earth that we could have warned people, we would have done it, but we did not know.
13-year-old
flash flood. That's all it can be. It's a very spontaneous. You get the notifications from your phone, and honestly, a lot of people look at it, and especially where I am, I'm not too close to the water, but we'll look at the notification and just, oh, well, flash flood, and we don't even think about it. We don't. Jeez. Let's keep going.
Blair Harbor and 11-year-old sister Brooke were there spending the holiday in a cabin with their parents and grandparents. Their bodies were found 15 miles down the river together. Their school wrote a, quote, powerful symbol of their lasting bond. Their parents survived.
Your daughters are found, what does they say, miles down the road, 15 miles downstream together? That is, probably holding each other. Yeah, this is.
But their grandparents are still missing. Amid the heartbreaking loss of life, there are also remarkable stories of survival. After this woman was swept 20 miles down the river, she clung to a tree for hours until rescuers and boats were able to come and save her. In Hunt, Texas, Diana Smith says she woke up to find her house surrounded by water.
Open the front door and it sweeps both my dogs different directions, and I'm panicking, thinking, now what the hell am I going to do?
She says she called 911, but no one came.
I said a prayer when I was standing on my porch. Both my parents are deceased, and I said, Mom, Dad, God, help.
She managed to jump into a kayak with her dogs, paddling to safety. 11-year-old Kaylin Kubina was at Camp La Junta, 6 miles from Camp Mystic.
We looked outside and we just saw like an ocean out there. It's just like completely destroying everything.
There's people in it. Oh my God, there's so many people in it.
This cabin appeared to float away in the floodwaters. Still, the camp says everyone was able to evacuate to safety.
We saw like whole cabin just floating down, and that's when we knew like things were getting actually real out there. Like we were starting to realize that this was a real natural disaster crisis.
We were with the Alvarado family as the reality set in. Their 2 daughters were in this RV when the river surrounded them. These are the images of what they saw outside of their windows.
We couldn't see through the water, but we could see the currents moving, and it just kept going. Like there was no end to it.
Their dad came to their rescue along with a neighbor, pulling the girls to safety. Brooke, the oldest of the 2, looking down at the river and realizing how some girls just like her weren't as lucky.
When you guys heard about all the people that didn't make it, I mean, what was that like? I mean, to know that like you were right here.
It hurt. I'm sorry. It just sucks that a lot of people just lost their lives, but it's really good to hear about the people that are getting out and stuff.
So many stories just like that all along this river, and as you heard the mayor say there, so many were taken by surprise. The question tonight, why? And what could have been done to prevent so many lives lost? Ryan Chandler.
Now, I don't know if anything could have been done. Maybe you have sirens put up and play, because they said 26 feet is a lot. That is crazy. Over where I stay, I'm like, think the bottom of my house is like 26 feet from the lake near me. They got dams and spillways and stuff like that. So if anything ever happened, they can release the spillways to lower the water. But that is absolutely crazy. I don't know if anything can be done other than maybe big emergency sirens. That's the only thing I can think about. Because I'm assuming they sent out the flood warnings, but you're knocked out in your sleep, you're not going to hear it. You got to have something posted, I guess, everywhere, but Jesus.
There's also in Kerrville tonight along the Guadalupe River banks. And Ryan, the river that everybody loved turned deadly so quickly. What are you hearing from residents on just how fast this turned for the worst?
Yeah, Tom, one woman here told me as late as Thursday evening, with flood watches in effect, people were getting ready to celebrate the 4th of July at the park along this river. Just hours later, it would be completely underwater. So many people just had no idea what was coming.
Kerrville resident Michelle Pittman had no idea that death and destruction was coming downriver.
You know, this was something that happened that no one was prepared for.
As the urgent search continues, questions and calls for accountability grow about how many in this community were caught by such surprise.
Who can you hold accountable for a natural disaster? Like, I don't know.
Rest assured, no one knew this kind of flood was coming.
Many questioning why neighborhoods and camps along the Guadalupe River were not told to evacuate earlier.
Very tough to make those calls because what we also don't want to do is cry wolf.
At Camp Mystic, the Texas Lieutenant Governor says campers were awakened only by thunder and lightning. Phones not allowed by camp rules. He's now pushing for state lawmakers to fund more outdoor warning sirens.
Got to. See, what did I say? More outdoor warning sirens. You got to have. There's no way. You got to have a bunch of. That's one of the most reliable. If you hear a giant siren going off and you're near the river and it's screaming flood, run, evacuate, getting up out of there. It's got to be loud enough to wake you out of your sleep. Right as soon as the water starts getting too high and you're thinking it's going to keep rising, nah. Sound the alarms and as loud as you can. Turn that volume all the way up. It needs to be able to wake people out of their sleep. I don't care if eardrums bust. Turn that all the way up.
Kids, we should have those sirens. We need to go back step by step, and look at what happened and why it happened.
The National Weather Service says a flood watch at 1:18 p.m. Thursday was elevated on Friday at 1:14 a.m. to urgent flash flood warnings for Kerr County, sending emergency alerts to cell phones and weather radios. Then at 4:03 a.m., an upgrade to a flash flood emergency. But for so many, those warnings went unheard.
Obviously, most people at 1 a.m. and 4 a.m. are asleep. And so I think we will have a reasonable conversation about, are there any ways to have earlier detection?
Senator Ted Cruz defending the National Weather Service amid concerns of staffing shortages, saying Congress will act.
We did see a lot of people.
Yeah, like I said, if I'm asleep, it might wake me up, but you need something that's like, I don't hate to say it, breaking eardrums. You got to have something that's going crazy loud, waking everyone. I don't care if it wakes. It's got to wake everyone. Everyone has to wake up from that siren.
Heroically taking kids out of harm's way, but it should have happened earlier. How we make that happen, I think, is a very reasonable discussion.
As so many still grieve, many questioning how to prevent the next disaster. Ryan Chandler, NBC News, Kerrville, Texas.
Now that is absolutely crazy. Now, like I said before, we got to make sure we keep everybody in our prayers. That is an absolutely wild sight. I can't imagine being woken up and just out of nowhere, I feel water touching my feet. Oh my God. Grab what I can. At the end of the day, when an emergency, you can't even grab nothing. You just got to grab the people. Jesus Christ. But let's keep Texas in our prayers through their search. Hopefully they find more survivors. Like I said, death toll up to more than 100 people. I think it said 104, but that might not even be the most accurate count because things are getting updated every single day. But I'm going to keep track of everything, and if more details pop up and more things that they want to discuss that I feel like I want to discuss with y'all, we'll talk about it, of course. But that is absolutely wild. Now we're gonna stick to the 4th of July weekend. For some reason, like I said before, the 4th of July weekend always brings craziness. There's always something going on. Shootings, fightings, and then you got the firework explosions. But we're going to go through some of the stuff that's been happening over the weekend. Just right before the weekend and during the weekend. Just everything that's been happening. So I don't know why 4th of July is always so hectic, but let's jump right into that and see what we can make of it.
Independence Day on the water ended with a boat going up in flames after it exploded last night. Multiple people were injured. Fox 5's Eric Mock is live at Lake Lanier tonight with the very latest. Eric?
Yeah, Tyler, and if you can believe it, 7 people were injured in that boat explosion on Lake Lanier. 7 more people were injured in a different explosion at a different lake in North Georgia. We actually got some eyewitness video. We're going to take you that video right now. This was from Yara Baranovsky. You can see the boat just completely engulfed in flames, a large plume of black smoke coming off it. This happened around 7 p.m. in what's called Landshark Cove near Margaritaville, on Lake Lanier. Now, according to the Hall County Sheriff's Office and the Georgia Department of Natural Resources, 7 people were injured. They ranged in age from 45 all the way down to just 5 years old. And they suffered second and third degree burns. A lot of them had to be transported to the hospital. And we actually got a lot of other video from people who were out there who were shocked to see this explosion happen. It just shows how bad this fire got with the boat becoming completely engulfed and then eventually sinking. And then we actually had another boating explosion in Union County on Lake Nautilus. In that explosion, again, 7 more people were injured with varying degrees of burns. Now, we are working to find out the current condition of those victims, whether they're still in the hospital
what
or
was
have
the
been
cause?
discharged. But it just goes to show that, you know, this kind of thing can happen when you least expect it, when you're trying to enjoy the holiday here for the 4th of July weekend. This is a developing story. We're going to continue to bring you more details as soon as we have them, including an interview with eyewitnesses of this explosion here coming up later tonight.
Multiple children and an adult were taken to the hospital after a truck crash during the annual Dunwoody 4th of July.
So this video is just it looks like a compilation. I don't know how to say that, but just there's a bunch of different incidents that happen. Like it says, hectic holidays. So just a bunch of different things that happen over the 4th of July. So Jesus, let's keep going.
Parade. Officers say the crash happened when an F-150 that was towing a trailer paused to switch drivers during the parade. During the switch, police say the new driver accidentally hit the accelerator, which caused the vehicle to speed forward and knock a pedestrian to the...
So you're telling me that during a parade, while they're driving, they switched drivers and the dude actually hit the acceleration. That's crazy.
Ground. Authorities say the driver hit the brakes to stop the truck, which then led to the trailer disconnecting from that vehicle. Several people on top of the trailer fell off and were injured. Most of the victims were taken to local hospitals. Back here in Georgia, 2 women are recovering after a 4th of July shooting at a Northwest Atlanta apartment complex. Investigators were called to the complex on Middleton Road just after 6 p.m. A 49-year-old woman was shot in the foot and a 23-year-old woman was shot in the arm. It's still unclear tonight what led up to the shooting or if any arrests have been made. Neighbors tell us they thought the gunfire could have been fireworks at first.
Stuff like this.
Crazy. 4th of July. Why is there always shootings at the 4th of July? People always love to shoot out. Something happened.
It's happened all the time, but you didn't think it was going to happen on the 4th. Like, I thought maybe like somebody would, you know.
Who doesn't think it's going to happen on the 4th?
You know, it's usually something like burn themselves on firecrackers or something and I get shot. So, you know, this is gives prayers out to the family and everybody.
I hear about shootings all the time on the 4th of July. That's one thing. The fireworks and somebody blowing their hand off and then somebody getting shot. Those are the 2 things I always hear about.
It appears the shooting happened at some sort of 4th of July gathering. Fox 5 cameras spotted flattened tents on the ground and crunched water bottles as well.
Absolutely wild. That is out. There's always chaos in the 4th of July. But we're gonna move over into the next video. There's still more 4th of July chaos, but let's keep going into it. This is an Indianapolis shooting. So 7 people were shot and 2 people were killed in downtown for the gunfire. So let's jump right into that.
Breaking news, 2 people were killed in a shooting that injured at least 7 in Indianapolis, Indiana, early this morning. Officers responded to the intersection of West Market Street and North Illinois Street around 1:30 a.m. And you're taking a look at some of that footage there that we do have coming in here. Several roads were closed in the downtown area as officers probed the scene. Drivers and pedestrians are urged to avoid this area right now. No information on a potential suspect or what led to the shooting has been released as of this morning. The conditions of the surviving victims, that's also still unknown at this time. However, what we do have to share with you is a press conference about 12 minutes in length here from officials. Let's listen in.
My name is Tanya Terry, and I'm the Deputy Chief of Operations for MPD. As always, this information I'm about to share with you is preliminary and subject to change. Before I get to the incident, let me say that my thought.
Now, if you can't hear, I'll when I'm releasing all these videos and break them down, I'll increase the volume so we can. So if I can't hear them while I'm doing these videos, we'll see.
Are with everyone that was impacted by this incidents of violence out here tonight, including the victims, their families, and the first responders that were managing this chaotic scene and where they're engaged. Here's what we know so far. At approximately 1:27 a.m., officers were investigating a disturbance at Washington and Meridian Street. They were notified of another disturbance down the street at Illinois and Washington Street. As officers were approaching that second disturbance, they heard shots fired, and as they arrived on the scene, they encountered several people suffering from apparent gunshot wounds. Officers and IEMS medics who were embedded with our officers immediately began rendering aid to the victims that they were encountering. They also called for several additional ambulances. In total, we had 5 victims transported away from the scene to area hospitals for treatment. A 6th victim was pronounced dead on the scene. A 7th victim walked into an area hospital and is in stable condition. 3 of those victims are juveniles and 3 are adults.
Why are they talking so much? You can't even barely hear it. But basically, it sounded like they got calls around 1 a.m. To do 2 different locations right down the street from each other. And when they arrived on scene, they had 2 dead bodies and 5 other people who needed to go to the hospital.
We did not know the identity or the age of the victim that was pronounced dead at the scene. The victim who died at the hospital was a juvenile. We have also recovered several firearms at the scene. We do not yet know whether those firearms were involved in this incident. Our detectives will work to determine that. And we have multiple people, about 7 people detained for further investigation. We also don't know their involvement at this point in time. The investigation is early. I think that's the very brief facts that we have at this time. At this point, I'll turn it over to Chief Bailey.
Chris Bailey, Chief of Police for the Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department. I'll just add on a little bit to what she said about our thoughts and prayers for the victims here tonight, their families, and the long road ahead for all of them as we try to uncover exactly what and why this all happened tonight. This kind of violence, whether downtown or any of our neighborhoods, is completely unacceptable and unnecessary.
Like I said before, I've said this during this whole section of this podcast. Why does 4th of July bring so much violence? I don't understand.
Unnecessary. Thousands of people came downtown tonight, enjoyed the fireworks, and went home. Thousands more chose to come down here and all night cause trouble.
Did he say thousands more? So thousands of people came to enjoy the fireworks. And then 1,000 people either stayed or came to wreak havoc. And late at night. That is crazy.
I was down here until about 12:30 tonight. I worked with my officers, took the runs with them, dealt with the disturbances, dealt with the utter disrespect for our city, for our laws, and for law enforcement. Hundreds of unsupervised kids down here. I don't know how many times I have to say it. We are not your children's keepers. You are.
100% correct. The police are not there to watch over the kids who the parents can't control. They are not there to watch your kids. You need to know where your kids are at all times. But some people don't care about that.
And parents and guardians have got to step up. A kid is dead tonight. And we just don't know the age of the young man down the street. Still here, dead. He looks young. It's unacceptable. The police department all night long went from place to place to place, trying to prevent these kind of things. And I gotta be honest, I'm tired of it. You should be tired of it. This is not our job to do this. It is unnecessary. You don't have to act like this. Our officers half a block away from me before this shooting started, dealing with another group of individuals fighting. We made almost, probably, well, we're still tallying them, about 20 arrests tonight. Recovered guns that I know of before this happened from 2 kids. One of them was an assault rifle stuffed in the front of his pants. I'm not sure anymore what it's going to take for some in our community to wake up. I've said it. This is where the kids are. This is where they are on Friday and Saturday nights. If you want to engage them, if you want to help them, you want to prevent some of this violence, this is where they are. Here, they're here. Come down. I invite all of those who think that I'm exaggerating this or that I'm saying just because it's downtown. No, nowhere else in the city is this concentration of people in one small area, less than a half a mile. Come down and see for yourself. You don't have to take my word for it. You can see them being dropped off by their parents. 5 or 6 at a time out of it.
Nah, man. That is absolutely crazy. Why? There's nothing good going on that late at night to where your kids need to be outside. When they get older, they can do what they want to because you can't really control them. Well, you can't. After you're an adult, you have to make your own decisions. All you can do is lead them while they're young and guide them and mold them and distill values in them that you feel like is the best to make them a great adult, a good person. But dropping your kid off late at night downtown because, I'm trying to hang out with my friends. Why are you? No, there's no need to. Yeah, come, y'all bring them to the house and then y'all sit down, play some games, play some video games. There's no need to be out that late at night. Stuff always happens late at night. Guns, getting shot. Nah, there's no need to do that. Stay in the house where you can be protected and safe. Y'all can order some pizza. And
the car. You can see them jump out of Ubers and Lyfts. You can see them jumping off the buses that they ride down, that they miss and then linger around downtown. Heck, look to your left. You're still going to see some people that probably shouldn't be out here right now lingering. Not going to bars, not going to restaurants, didn't come down here to see the fireworks, shooting fireworks off at our community from the top of parking garages.
That is crazy.
Unnecessary. Questions?
Is it going to take other city departments to step up?
Now, see, we keep going back to what's the government going to do? What's the city going to do? The city's invested in this. Millions of dollars the city, taxpayers pay for police overtime to staff this 1 square mile area with, there was a couple hundred cops down here between state police and Capitol Police and IMPD and other police department agencies. Yes, we're going to keep doing our job. The city of Indianapolis, government, the police department is going to continue to do our job. We're not going to solve this. Not just by the police.
He's absolutely right. He can't. They're out there every single day. You can say more police presence, yes. You can say that more federal agents or government assistance to help stop. But at the end of the day, it's the kids and the parents who are causing the problem. If the parents don't care about what their child is doing, then they're going to be doing things they're not supposed to. They're shooting fireworks off at people from the top of parking garages. That is absolutely crazy. But yeah, I don't know. You got the parents. It's not all the police that can do it. The parents and the people, the guardians have to step up and do something. They can't just rely it on the police.
20 arrests tonight.
Mainly you're a dad.
Yeah.
What would you say to those parents out there?
I don't understand. I know where my kids are at all times. So maybe that's maybe I shouldn't be that way. 16-year-old daughter. I cannot imagine letting her roam around down here tonight like she was, like the kids were, unattended, unsupervised, nothing to do. Some of these individuals that were shot could have been very well not engaged in any kind of disturbance whatsoever.
Look, you saw how fast he turned? He got to keep his 6 all time. Let's back that up just a tad bit.
Any kind of disturbance whatsoever. But it just caught up.
You
in
look
the
back so quick.
Nearly down here, enjoying ice cream, or maybe they were down here for the fireworks, or wanted to see what's going on.
Got to keep your head on a swivel.
Whatever's happening, but look, nothing good happens after midnight. Some of these kids should not have been out here. Period. They missed the bus going back. With some of the stories that we heard, one of our officers prevented 2 young girls from getting into a stranger's car because they missed the bus to go back home. Wait, you have no ability to call your parents? Your parents wouldn't come pick you up if you missed the bus? There is a problem.
Now that is crazy. He said 2 young girls. They stopped 2 young girls from getting into a car with a stranger because they missed the bus. Like he said, where's your parents? If I don't care how late it is, and if I found out that my daughter, because she wouldn't be out that late, if I had a daughter, she wouldn't be out that late at night. Especially, she wouldn't be out that late at night. But if I found out she, for some reason, snuck out, which we'll deal with that later, but I don't care how much trouble you think you're going to get in, call me. Call me. I don't care how late it is. My phone is I'm going to be up. Where are you at? I see a phone call from my daughter. Where are you at? Dad, I snuck out and I don't have a ride. Stay right there. Matter of fact, go to a hospital. Find the nearest hospital. If there's one close by, stay where you are. I'm on the road immediately. On the road immediately. Have protection on me just in case something crazy goes down. And I'm going to get my daughter or my son. It can be son too. My son. I'm going to get them and bringing them back home. And in the morning, they're grounded. Their phone is taken. They might only have a bed in their house, bed in their room. I don't know what's going to happen, but they are going to understand that they can't do that.
There is a problem. It's not going to be solved by the police. It's our job to try to keep people safe, and they did it tonight. I watched it with my own eyes. I helped do some of it. They did all the work. They ran toward the gunfire down here as they were working another fight. They're all in. They're all in. So when I hear people say, oh, we're just worried about minor things in downtown Indianapolis. No, minor things turn into big things. The amount of guns.
Nowadays, one minor fight that you don't think is worth anything can lead to gunfire and people dying. Scared. I don't know if it's the world that's getting scarier or people and kids are not caring about life, not caring about death. It's crazy to me.
Guns that I saw tonight on people roaming around here with nothing else to do. Can't do anything about it. Unless you're a kid, there's nothing, unless you're doing something with a gun or doing something illegal. We can't go up and ask you what you're doing with the gun. That turns into bad things, especially when there's fights or when there's alcohol or there's weed induced.
So can you confirm it was one juvenile and then one adult dead?
We know for sure that there is one dead kid. The other one, the other dead individual, we're still. There's been nothing that occurred to make any kind of positive. I guarantee you, we're gonna share everything over the next day or so all the arrests, what they were for. We're going to give you pictures of the guns that we took from these kids, and we'll share more details about what happened here. This could have very well happened in any neighborhood. But this is where the kids were. And I've told you this is where the kids were. This is where the kids are. I've told everyone this.
Message tonight.
That is absolutely insane. Now, that makes me think of all the people who always talk about defunding the police. Like, yes, there are some bad police officers, just like there's bad people in any kind of profession. But the police play such a vital role in protecting our lives and our children's lives, our families' lives. I can't see how anyone talks about defunding the police. Yes, there should be more training and more psychological deep dive into their mind, but they are here to protect us. And if something goes wrong, I don't care. I'm a law-abiding citizen. If something goes wrong, you know what I'm gonna do? Or something happens, I'm gonna call the police. If someone breaks into my house after I defend myself, the first thing I'm doing is calling the police and telling them to please to come to my house and help me. I just had to defend myself against a criminal, and he needs to be in jail. But that is absolutely wild. I'm gonna keep up, see if they bring up any more information about the other. But one juvenile is dead, and then we don't know the other one what their age is. But I don't know. What do you think should be done? Should they do a curfew? Younger kids can't stay out that late at night, or if the parents don't care about what their kids are doing, can it really stop anything? That is absolutely wild. Absolutely. Now we're going to switch over to, now this was Indianapolis. So we're going to switch over to Chicago. Yes, Chicago. More things happening. So shootings, everything happening around the 4th of July. So just more 4th of July chaos. I'm trying to break it down. We got just this and then one or two other things that we're going to talk about for the 4th of July chaos. And then we're going to pivot over to something else. But let's keep going. Let's keep going.
7:15 here on the East Coast. Welcome back to Life Now from Fox. Good morning to you if you're just now tuning in. I'm Jeanne Francine. We are following some breaking news, which takes us out to the windy city of Chicago. Take a look at your screen as Fox 32 Chicago reports this Thursday morning, a mass shooting in River North sent at least a dozen people to local hospitals on Wednesday night. Tragic news we are following on the eve of July 4th. We're learning this happened around 11:30 Wednesday night into the early morning hours of this Thursday. Transitioning your screen to give you a live look, a beautiful skyline shot there, the windy city of Chicago. But we also want to head down to the ground outside of that nightclub to share the very latest details. You can see markers are still on the ground outside of that nightclub on this Thursday morning. We're learning at least 4 people have died from gunshot wounds. 14 others have been hospitalized following a drive-by shooting in Chicago. Police confirming that information this Thursday to our content partners over at the Associated Press. They say at least 3 were in critical condition from that wounded toll. The shooting happening late Wednesday in Chicago's River North neighborhood. Several media outlets said it happened outside a restaurant and lounge that had hosted an album release party for a rapper.
It's hot. It's the 4th of July. The holidays is around right next door. It's the day before the holidays. Nightclubs. So much violence around the 4th of July. The 4th of July is supposed to be a time where you just celebrate with your family. Eat a hot dog, a hamburger. You're relaxing. Out in the sun. I'm not going to stay out in the sun that long, but out in the sun. It's absolutely crazy.
They go on to report someone opened fire into a crowd standing outside, and the vehicle immediately drove away. At this time, no one is in custody.
Opens fire at a crowd of people Don't know who's in that crowd. I'm assuming they saw one dude or a couple people that they wanted to get at, but not caring about who else is around them. It's a scary thing. Yeah, you can just be standing in a line waiting to go into the club. You're just a regular civilian. Just you don't do anything. Oh, see, you got stuff playing in the background, but it is absolutely crazy. You can just be standing there and minding your own business. The next thing you know, shot starts ringing. You got to take for cover. You're going into a club, so you're not supposed to have any kind of protection on you, but that's crazy. Let's keep going.
Now let's head back to the preliminary information from police. Police reporting that 13 women and 5 men ranging in age from 21 to 32 were shot, and that the dead included 2 men and 2 women. Those shot were taken to multiple hospitals in the area. Chris King, a spokesperson for Northwestern Medicine, said the emergency department was evaluating several people injured in the shooting, but he could not provide the number of people that were actually sent to the hospital, nor could he provide their condition. Earlier this morning, an area pastor spoke to the media about the violence that erupted late Wednesday night into this Thursday. Take a listen.
Yeah. Pastor Donovan Price, Donovan Price, Solutions and Resources.
What have you learned about what happened here last night?
When I arrived last night, it was absolute chaos. From people screaming to blood on the streets to people laying on the streets, just a massive police presence, just horrific, more than I've ever seen. And seems that there was some album release party, people coming from that. A SUV pulls up and just opens fire on a crowd of people, and
somebody beefing with somebody else.
18 shot and four dead at this point. And the worst I've seen, just people wanting to find their other people, find who was alive, finding who was, where their phones were, because they dropped them in the chaos, so they couldn't even call for.
Oh, the street
couldn't even find their car keys.
I never heard that name before.
It's something that you wouldn't expect to find in the city. We have a lot of shootings, but nothing like this.
Something you wouldn't expect to find in River North, but speak to that part of it, and also.
We have a lot of shootings, but nothing like this. Any kind of shootings is not good.
Speak to the fact that this was an album listening party, female rapper from Chicago, and yet
female rapper.
This crowd, we're hearing mostly women, and yet this SUV pulled up with multiple people inside and opened fire.
Yeah, well, I think it's time out. It should be time out for. I didn't expect it to happen here, because it's happening everywhere. It can happen anywhere. I think people should realize that there's no place too good for it. There's no place too bad for it. It as long as evil exists, as long as we have a preponderance of guns and stupid people who have no respect or knowledge of life, then this is going to happen. And
I don't ever think it's going to be a gun problem. It's more about the stupid people problem, what he mentioned. Can't have too many stupid people are getting guns. Too many people who don't care about life. Only think about hurting someone, not protecting themselves.
Yeah, it was mostly women, and that didn't used to be a thing, and it's
mostly women.
It's devastating.
That's crazy.
Have you heard anything from anybody about what, if anything preceded this? Like if there was a fight inside the club, there was a disagreement, there was an argument.
I haven't heard anything like that. More.
Sounds to me it just pulled up. They was beefing with somebody. Somebody was outside. They said, "Oh, we found him. He had so and so." And they slid on him. That's crazy. Didn't care about any of the people around him. Didn't care about who else could get hurt. They just cared about going after whoever they was aiming and targeting. I don't think it was just a random attack where you just go up and start shooting somebody. No, I think it was somebody who had argument or a grievance, or it was beefing with somebody and turned deadly. Absolutely wild.
More or less, it seems like everybody was shocked that this happened. An unlikely, place, even though, rap has this kind of thing that people expect, in Chicago especially. And so a female rapper from Chicago in River North, it could be a recipe for disaster, but any mass gathering seems to be a recipe, or at least a big chance that something like this could happen. And I went to the hospitals, 3 hospitals after this, and the scenes there were almost as chaotic as here. Of people trying to find their loved ones, if their loved ones were at that hospital, trying to find information. Some people hurt themselves still. It was the city just was not a place to be. It felt bad to be in Chicago last night, but we can make it through. We can heal. We need to pray, though. We need to pray seriously.
Pastor, you respond to difficult situations all the time. Obviously, this one is substantially worse than many of the other
Yes.
ones. Yeah, it's been a long night for you. What's keeping you going right now?
Just the need of people to have someone there to help them, someone to pray with them, someone to pray for them, someone to, as I did when I was here, help them find their person, help them find out which person went to which hospital. There's a need for somebody to be there, and if I can be blessed to be that person, no matter the wear and tear it is on me, I'm blessed to serve the city of Chicago.
Pastor Price, unfortunately, last year there was a mass shooting in Chicago. This same location, a different name years ago, had another fatal shooting. Is there any advice that you want to first give folks that may hang out over the 4th of July holiday? And then my second question is, should there be increased security patrols?
So if you didn't hear his first question, he said it was a shooting here. I think it was around, I don't know if he said last year, around the same location at a different, I think the club name was different. So that is crazy.
For some of these establishments that may attract music lovers where these types of incidents occur.
Patrol, I think this 4th of July weekend, we all know, can be a violent weekend. People need to definitely be careful where they're going, maybe even rethink where they're going and where they're hanging out. There are some places, not to say this place, but there are some places that you have to watch out for. There are some scenes and crowds. You are a target for the person in that crowd that has beef with anybody else.
You have to move with precision. You can't be out here lollygagging because the world is dangerous. We can't fight it. We can't deny it. The world is a very dangerous place. So you have to move with precision. I don't go to certain locations because I know what type of crowd or what type of incident can occur. So I don't go to certain places, certain events. If it's too much in the hood, I'm gonna be saying too much in the hood. No, I'm not gonna go there. No, I don't live in the hood. I haven't lived in the hood since I was very young. You have, like I said, at the end of the day, you got to move with precision. You cannot be out here and just lollygag. With the word say lollygag. You can't. No, you got to move with precision, and know what type of area you're in. Know what type of things can pop off, and be ready to protect yourself. At the end of the day, you got to be ready to protect yourself or run away. I don't think that you running away is making you scared or calling you a bee. No, you got to protect yourself. You got to protect yourself. That don't matter if you have protection, you need to use it, or if you need to just run away. And then just run. I'm a big man, but I'm gonna be the fastest one out of there if I got to. Hey.
And so you have to watch that. You have to watch who you hang out, or maybe it's time to make your circle smaller and maybe stay home.
That is a big thing right there. Sometimes the circle of people you hang around with is not good people. If they're always out there in the streets, no. If you're trying not to be in the streets, I don't know how you try not to be in the streets, but if that is not your thing, and you're all the people you hang around with, the people you hang out with, or you have in your friendship circle, that will determine what type of things you're going to get into. It's if you talk to someone, or if you hang out with somebody every single day, they will be in situations where they are in the streets. If that's what they do, that's what they do. Sometimes you just gotta you need to leave the friendship. You're not going in a direction that I see my life going. So we need to. You need to surround yourself with people who are going to make you better. Drive you to be better.
Home and have a small, intimate barbecue at home or something. Crowds may not work.
Pastor, how quickly were you able to get here?
I got here in 17 to 20 minutes. Yeah, about 11:45.
So again, we know that these 4 people killed. The numbers are all over the place, but 18 people shot.
Absolutely.
Apparently a drive-by situation. What is the call or the mandate on the police to make sure that whoever is responsible is called?
Well, absolutely. They have a car. This looks like an area that has lots of cameras, so I think they'll do their job. Superintendent Snelling is very capable, and this is one thing they need to find these people, because if they've done something like this, they're going to do it again. They think it's okay, and in Chicago it's not okay. And
absolutely, if they have done this before, they're going to do it again. They don't care about if they shoot. If they didn't care about they shot into a crowd, they are going to keep shooting in crowds. That does not matter to them. They're not the old type of people who are like, nah, I'm going to catch you alone. Nah, they don't care about collateral damage. They do not care about collateral damage. That is wild. Now we're going to, I'm going to say that this whole little segment, this 4th of July, is a crazy time. Why is it so crazy? What's in the air that makes people just want to go crazy? And then you got fires all happening. So we're going to pivot a little bit now to some fireworks. Fire. So it's always somebody blowing off their hands or something getting blown up. So we're going to pivot over to a warehouse fire out in California. For a firework warehouse. So let's pivot right over into that. That is, things are always popping off.
Thank you.
It is 5:37. Take a look at this. They had a massive explosion. Look at that right there. A warehouse blowing up full of fireworks. This is in California. Look at all the fireworks going off right then. This is at a storage facility right outside of Sacramento is the area where this happened.
So this is, I think, a few days before 4th of July.
It spread quickly to all these other buildings outside that warehouse. A view of it again right there. And then with the fire burning, it's obviously very dry out there, caused some grass fires nearby. They had to evacuate an entire mile around this warehouse out there. And the governor, Gavin Newsom, is calling for an arson and bomb investigation team to investigate. Damn. We don't have any word of any injuries.
Back here at home, starting August 1st, adults in Delaware will be allowed to buy recreational marijuana. It comes 2 years after voters passed the act. 120 in public health systems.
That's it for that. We ain't going to get into any of that stuff, but absolutely. Let's go back. Let's rewind that a little bit for that fire. That is crazy. Let's bump that up.
Look at that right there. A warehouse blowing up full of fireworks. This is in California. Look at all the fireworks going off right then. This is at a storage facility right outside of Sacramento is the area where this happened. It spread quickly to all these other buildings outside that warehouse.
Yeah,
one
spark. In a it was a storage facility for fireworks. One spark. That's all it takes. The explosion is massive.
And then with the fire burning, it's obviously very dry out there, caused some grass fires nearby. They had to evacuate an entire mile around this warehouse out there. And the governor, Gavin Newsom, is calling for an arson and bomb investigation team to investigate. We don't have any word of any injuries.
Now that is absolutely wild. So the next thing is not really, there's no sound to it, but we're going to jump over into, so this is, so let me see. This is a house fire. A house explodes in LA. So there's some images of it. There's no really sound. So we're just going to go through this and see what it's talking about. So look at Those look like this is the chopper. That is great. What the? Where am I about to say?
What?
I don't know who's talking, but.
Did you guys lose us? Ooh. Bump it up a little, please.
That is wild. Look at that. The explosion.
Let me double check my end. Nope, we're still transmitting.
Now let's see if we can find I'm gonna see if I can find a news article really quickly about it. Oh well, I have a news article, but let's see if we can find another video about it. Oh, here it is.
Right.
There it is. So this one is a good one. Let's get right into this.
Breaking news at 5. A person is dead after a house explodes in Simi Valley, shaking a sleepy neighborhood. Police say the blast was caused by fireworks.
Good evening. Welcome to Fox 7 News at 5 on Fox 11 and Fox 11 Plus. I'm Alex Michelson.
And I'm Christine Devine. That explosion happened just before noon, sending shockwaves and smoke into the air.
Let's go live to Fox 11's Matthew Seedorf in Simi Valley with what we know so far. Matthew.
Well, right now the investigation continues into what caused that initial blast, but I'll step out of the way. You can see what's left of that house, the giant hole through the roof. Investigators still outside, a blast that shook the entire neighborhood. Flames erupting from a home in Simi Valley after a series of explosions. A man found dead inside the house off Edmond Street. Pieces of his garage scattered across the block.
Can't explain it. I felt like I was over in Iraq. It was so loud.
Tim Johnson lives nearby and was outside around noon Thursday hearing the initial blast.
It just went boom. That was it. Gone.
Firefighters and police arriving to more explosions lasting for about 20 minutes.
The next thing I know, whole neighborhood shook. And my cat hid in a closet because it was so loud. The whole neighborhood shook.
What do you think it was?
A bomb.
It's early in the investigation, but do you believe this was from fireworks?
What I can tell you is that the initial reports from the neighbors, they were describing what they believed to be fireworks exploding from the garage. I can tell you that we did find fireworks on the scene.
Yeah, I'm kind of really worried for their family right now.
The victim so far hasn't been publicly identified, but Mike Szynski drove here fearing the worst.
I'm very worried that the house is owned by a contractor friend of mine.
What caused the initial blast remains under investigation. Authorities now urging people to follow fireworks laws this 4th of July.
All fireworks in our city are illegal, even the safe and sane ones, so we ask that you leave it to the professionals.
So all fireworks in their city is illegal? That is crazy. Absolutely crazy.
You can see much of the block remains closed off as the crime scene investigators are still out here, as well as several neighbors out here wondering what exactly happened again. Right now, officials still trying to determine what caused that initial blast that set off the massive explosion and the other fireworks to go off.
Now that is wild. Now I'm gonna look at the article I got to see if there's any more information listed in there that they didn't mention, but pretty much everything they found. Yeah, they don't even know for sure if it was fireworks, but it's illegal. It's illegal to even have fireworks out there. Happened around 11:48 a.m. in the afternoon, about to be noon. One of the neighbors said it sounded like a sonic boom, like a rocket ship was coming in. That is crazy. Yeah, I would have freaked out too. That is absolutely wild. Absolutely wild. Now, yeah, as you see, the house rocked. It sounded like a sonic boom, like a rocket ship. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. Yep. Now, that is it for the 4th of July chaos. So we had a bunch of things happening, gunshots and fire and explosions. Is it going to be like this every year? It seems like every year something has happened on the 4th of July. Fireworks in general, the heat, the fireworks. Gun violence happens every day of the year, but the fires and explosions, that's fireworks and stuff like that. That's usually only around you hear somebody having their fingers blow off. And so I think one of the rappers, I can't remember a rapper, the Aaron the plumber, the dude who always be fighting, he was beefing with somebody. He talked about how he was making fun of him, saying that trying to play handball with you after his hand blew off. But that is absolutely crazy. Now we're going to pivot some, get away from the 4th of July stuff, and look at Ben MacLemore. I think that's how you say it. Yeah, MacLemore. SA charges. So we're going to talk about that. So we're going to jump over right into that video and just talk about it and just see what our thoughts are. But let's jump right into that. A little something about his testification. Testification. I don't know why I said that, but you know what I'm trying to say. When he was testifying.
Was there any point along the way that you thought
Former Trailblazer Ben MacLemore took the stand in his defense on Thursday, telling his version of what happened at a house party where he was accused of raping a woman after a night of drinking. MacLemore says the evening began with bowling before team members met at Robert Covington's Lake Oswego home for cards and drinking.
But I was just, just being there and just enjoying the night and just, having that time with my teammates and stuff.
MacLemore testified he encountered the alleged victim in the bathroom after some of her friends asked him to help move her to the couch because she was intoxicated. MacLemore said he eventually fell asleep on that same couch and then woke up a few hours later with that woman's hands down his pants.
Fondling me and basically arousing me. So that's what pretty much woke me up. Again, I'm in deep sleep.
That's when MacLemore says he began having sex with a woman, an encounter he describes as consensual.
She didn't show no signs of distress or discomfort.
First thing is, well, I guess it's not your house, so you don't have a room to go to, but I'm not gonna fall asleep on the couch with someone I don't know. Especially a drunk girl. Anything can happen. I'm not trying to She wakes up, thinks something happened. Now I don't know what's going through her mind, but a lot of bad decisions this whole way around. A lot of bad decisions.
And didn't, give me no signs at all or alertness of that.
MacLemore says that he and the alleged victim never spoke with each other before, during, or after the encounter, and he left Covington's house immediately after they had sex. During cross-examination, the prosecution argued the alleged victim never consented to sex with MacLemore.
You did say on direct, it was one of the most terrible things I've ever done in my life.
Right.
Having sex with an unconscious woman would be one of the most terrible things, wouldn't it?
I don't think that's what he said. No.
I'm saying unconscious, but that moment was me leaving without saying anything was definitely a terrible one of the.
Yeah, that's.
The trial will continue tomorrow here in Clackamas County with more experts and character witnesses expected to testify. Closing arguments could happen some.
Now with that brings a question to my mind. Because people talk about, yes, the man is responsible for making sure the woman is consenting. Now, it sounds like to me they were both drinking, which doesn't, yes, he made a terrible mistake, and his judgment was awful. I don't know if he actually essayed the girl. I don't know if it was a case of where she's too drunk. She did initiate it, but she is literally she's too drunk. It's a terrible situation all around. That's absolutely crazy. Now that brings a question. The question is it different if the guy was drunk, overly drunk, and the girl was slightly drunk and sober? Is it still the guy? If the guy is too drunk to even think, is it still his responsibility to be sure? Or is it the person who is most sober? Or is it, no matter the fact, it's the guy's responsibility? If they're both drunk, both overly drunk, both overly intoxicated, how can you say that it's the guy's sole responsibility to make sure that something like this doesn't happen? It's a crazy thing. There's always the cases. You don't know if this might not be the case for her, but there are definitely cases to where a girl done something with a dude the night before and wakes up to regret it, and then calls the police saying that it was SA. There have been cases that's in the news where they talk about them. In those cases, the guy's life is ruined. You don't know what happened. But hey, like I said, we don't know if that's this case. In all actuality, sounds to me like she was too intoxicated. Too intoxicated. He was definitely intoxicated too. But society, on society's rules, it's the guy's responsibility to not to understand and not act on it. If she actually did what she said and put her hands down his pants, I don't know. It's a crazy scenario to me. She initiated it, but she's too drunk to understand what she was initiating. Now we're down that good. Now we don't know if that, because that's his testification. I'm not sure if she even agree. We'll deep dive into more of this testifying, more of the trial, and see if she actually remembers anything that happens. If she remembers reaching down into his pants, she might not. I'm assuming, just my assumption, that she doesn't remember it, and all she did was just wake up and she knew that somebody had SA'd her. That is a crazy situation. All this, so former trailblazer, You have to be careful. Once you become a man with a lot of money, any man, it's too much to lose getting in these awful scenarios. Awful scenarios. It's getting more and more like you need to have some written out in paper so before you even have any kind of act, freaky time, whatever you want to call it, that you got to have some kind of written form of consent. Because it's a scary world out here. Scary world out here. The same thing with Shannon Sharp. And even though most of even the woman said most of the acts was consensual, she said it was some parts that were forged. So it's, at what point, maybe it just depends on the girl, where she would turn around a consensual act saying that, oh, some parts weren't consensual. I don't know. But you have to protect yourself, fellas. Have to protect yourself. You can't get in these sticky situations or these stupid situations where your whole life and future is at risk because of one stupid mistake. Honestly, if I don't know. I can't say it. I don't know. That's a crazy scenario. If it is how he said, and he goes to sleep and he wakes up with her hands down his pants. That is a crazy scenario. That is a crazy scenario. But I'll keep everyone updated on the trial. That was a little quick. I had to talk about that because I was thinking about that when Anton Daniels was talking about it yesterday on his Millionaire Morning Show. Yep, we'll give a shout out to him. So if you go and watch that if you haven't, but that's absolutely crazy. Those just some things to think about. Like, is it always? Can the woman ever be wrong in that scenario? Can the woman ever be sober? Like, not sober, but can the woman who is sober and sleeps with a very intoxicated man, too intoxicated it might be, or can a man ever be too intoxicated? These are questions that we need to think about. Questions we need to think about. But that's it for that video. Just a little small something we want to talk about, but that is absolutely wild. That is absolutely wild. Now we're going to pivot over into Atlanta. So a family in Atlanta. This happened some days ago. A family in Atlanta feels unsafe after some shots was fired into their home. So we're going to jump right into that. Let's see what they're talking about.
DeKalb County family says they don't feel safe in their home ever since shooters fired into their house. Police have not said they've caught anyone yet. Bullet holes still cover the walls of the home. Fox 5's Eric Malk is there to show you the video of the terrifying ordeal.
The bullet holes are still throughout this home. And you can see Selena Schluter is actually packing up their belongings and getting ready to move out. And who can blame her? The bullet holes are everywhere. The reminders of that terrifying incident. They even went in through the banister, into the walls, all throughout the kitchen and beyond.
What?
6 men dressed in black and wearing masks fire into the home Selena Schluter rents.
I was scared to death.
Schluter says she was asleep inside the home
No,
on
no,
Julius
we
Drive
gotta
in
back
Stone
that up,
Mountain,
Sappy. That
and
is
getting ready
crazy.
to move out. And who can blame her? The bullet holes are everywhere. The reminders of that terrifying incident. They even went in through the banister, into the walls, all throughout the kitchen and beyond. Dang! 6 men dressed in black and wearing masks fire into the home Selena Schluter rents.
I was scared to death.
Schluter says she was asleep inside the home on Julius Drive in Stone Mountain on May 26th when the young men snuck through the driveway of a neighboring home and fired into the back of the house. Her children were here inside as well.
She had just came inside from off the front porch. My son was like he was asleep. He heard it and woke up. My other son's girlfriend was here, and she was actually in here in the living room. She hit the floor. So we're terrified. I'm calling 911 like it's been a shooting.
Luckily, she and her family members weren't hit. The DeKalb County Police report describes the shooters as appearing to be teenagers. Schuler says she has no idea why 6 teens would unload weapons into her home with her children inside. Bullet holes still riddled.
Hate to say, my first question is, sounds like they was looking for somebody. Did they get the wrong house, or is the son or the sons old enough to where they were beefing with somebody? Are they teens? The son is probably a teen.
The backside of the home, constant reminders of that terrifying incident.
This one went here, through here.
Police have not said whether they've caught or identified any of the people responsible. So Schuler says she and her family don't feel safe staying here anymore.
I don't want to be here anymore. Like, I can't sleep at night here. Like, I was sleeping the daytime and this happened. I can't close my eyes in this place. I just can't.
Which is why she's staying in an Airbnb right now and trying to move out. And Schuler tells me she's concerned about the lack of communication from her landlord. She tells me she's reached out multiple times telling them that she doesn't feel safe living here. Now, we've also reached out to her landlord and are waiting to hear back. For now, reporting in DeKalb County, Eric Mock.
I wonder what she expects her landlord to do. She probably wants to be released from the lease, I'm assuming. That is absolutely wild. 6 teens to jump out of nowhere and start shooting at people? That is wild. Now, I got to look and see if there's any updates, of course. Let's see. Nope, does not look like there's any updates. That is wild. Some neighborhoods are just, I don't know. I mean, it's not some neighborhoods, but I really want to know what, like, were they beefing with someone? Was it just I don't think it was just a random house. It's usually hardly ever random. Either they had some idea who was in the house that they was trying to beef at. And it is. They were teens too. So many kids nowadays don't care about life. Don't care about how them causing death. They don't care about it. They care about when they go to jail, because you see all the videos of kids crying. They be like, oh, they think they're gonna get out, and not a lot of time because they're young, minor. They're not adults yet, but the judge don't show no sympathy, which he shouldn't, and sends them to jail as an adult, spending life in jail. So they definitely be crying when they get those sentences, but when they're doing the acts, they don't care about who they hurt. So it's a crazy thing. Crazy. All right, now we're going to go over to Florida. Florida and their new super speeder law. So let's jump right over into that and see what that is talking about. So what I've seen is once you go, I think it's more than 50 miles per hour. No, I think it's more than 50 miles over or hitting 100. You get super speeder. So it's a super speeder law and you immediately get taken to jail. So let's see. And the first arrest was minutes after midnight. Somebody going crazy.
The speed limit's 70 miles an hour. You're doing 104 coming up behind me. As of 3 minutes ago, it is now an arrestable offense to do in excess of 100 miles an hour in the state of Florida.
A man in Orange County caught driving 104 miles an hour just 2 minutes after a new law took effect. Officers all across Florida are now able to arrest drivers going more than 100 miles an hour. It's all part of the new super speeder law that went into effect on July 1st.
And that new law comes just as one of the busiest travel periods of the year gets underway. Fox 35's Morgan Parrish has more on road safety ahead of the 4th of July holiday.
The roads are filling up fast, and not just here in Central Florida. AAA estimates more than 72 million Americans will travel by car this 4th of July weekend, with Orlando topping the list of domestic destinations.
With Central Florida being the #1 domestic travel destination for July 4th this holiday, we are upping our staffing and we are ensuring our Road Ranger team are ready and willing to assist.
The Florida Department of Transportation is activating its safety patrol, assisting stranded drivers and working to clear crashes quickly to prevent backups.
I've seen a lot over the years, and safety has always been at the heart of everything that FDOT does, right? We want everybody to get home safely. But really in the last 4 to 5 years, we really have this renewed focus on safety, which we call Target Zero. And that's a goal of 0 fatalities and serious injuries on our roadways.
And with Florida's new super speeder law now in effect, cracking down on drivers going 50+ miles per hour over the limit, FHP says they already caught one violator just minutes after midnight on July 1st.
The reason being stopped, the speed limit's 70 miles an hour. You're doing 104.
If you're doing 50 miles over the posted speed limit, or again, 100 or more, you could face 30 days in jail and a $500 fine, or both. If you do a second time, it could be 90 days in jail, a $1,000 fine, or both.
Troopers will be on high alert all weekend, watching for reckless, impaired, and distracted drivers. The message? Buckle up, slow down, and don't drive under the influence.
Let's make sure everybody gets home safe. We all
No, those are good things to not do.
enjoy this
Good things to do. Slow down, buckle up, and don't drive under an influence. That sounds very simple to me.
July holiday together, so let's make those smart driving choices. You'll get there when you get there.
Whether you're hitting the beach, heading to fireworks, or grilling at home, officials say they want your holiday to end with memories, not a tragedy.
Now the super speeder law. So what they said was 50 over. So you already know I got to pull up a news article about it. So super speeder law. Okay, so this, go to Google. So we're going to go right up to Google. So Google's AI system. So if you're not using AI, you're behind the times now, but let's jump right into it and see what it's talking about. So Florida super speeder law, known as House Bill 351, establishes a new criminal offense for excessive speeding, targeting drivers who exceed the speed limit by 50 miles per hour or drivers who drive at 100 miles per hour or more. So it took effect July 1st. And introduced stiffer penalties. So the thing that's crazy to me is in South Carolina, where I am, y'all know, in South Carolina, reckless driving is more than 25 miles per hour. So when I was younger, it was the start of college, like my freshman year, summer year, I got arrested for reckless driving. So I was going more than 25 over the posted speed limit. I was going way over that, but we're not going to talk about what I was doing. But I was going over the posted speed limit by more than 25 miles per hour, and they didn't think about it. They immediately took me to jail. I didn't stay in jail long, no, but it's immediately they towed my car, took me to jail, and I was in jail for the night. If it was the weekend, I would have been there for over the weekend. So we've always had laws to where if you're going too fast over the speed limit, at least in South Carolina, you're immediately going to jail for that night. That night you're going to jail. And it sounds like that they just give them a ticket or something. I don't know. That doesn't sound, that's crazy to me. I would never, I can't say I would never go because the highway I hit, I've hit 100 on the highway before. But that is crazy. And now I'd be thinking about those street racers. Well, not street racers, but the speeders who be going crazy fast, and they'll just be weaving in and out of cars. That is absolutely insane to me. You can't move in those situations. If you see somebody speeding, weaving throughout cars, do not change your pattern of driving, because they're already looking at ahead and seeing the path they're going to go, and they're expecting everybody to move the same way they were moving. You move 1 inch and then boom, the biggest crash of your life, and people are dead. But as you can see, what is it? The first offense, up to 30 days in jail and a $500 fine, or both. The second offense is up to 90 days in jail or a $1,000 fine. And if you do a second offense within 5 years, may also result in 6 months license suspension. Drivers charged with dangerous excessive speeding must appear in court. Yeah, I appeared in court. I was only going ours was more than 25 miles per hour. And the first dude, just after midnight, the first dude was going 104 in a 70 mile per hour zone. A driver was also caught going 106 miles per hour and crashing his car and then fleeing the scene. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. So I don't think there's no need. I understand people want to go fast. People like to go drive fast. They buy fast cars to drive fast in general. But the main thing they're trying to do with this law is keep people safe. Because the faster you go, the more deadly the crash is. And the more somebody dies. All because of an incident that you chose to drove super fast. Super speeder, of course. So that is absolutely insane. That is absolutely insane. All right, now we're going to pivot again over into Texas. So we got a video about some Texas court judges that were indicted on different things. Felony witness tampering, death threats. So it don't matter who you are. It's judges going crazy now. So let's jump right into that. Let's jump right into that.
A county judge has been indicted for witness tampering, accused of meddling in a case involving another elected official.
Yeah, this is happening in Rains County. It's east of Dallas. Officials say Judge Linda Wallace pressured a clerk who worked under her to withhold testimony in a criminal case. Fox 4's David Sentendry live in Rains County to break it down. David.
Yeah, officials here in Rains County tell me that Judge Wallace presided over both the Commissioner's Court as well as misdemeanor cases. Now, there were a number of allegations made against her, but it's these allegations that actually made it to an indictment.
Rains County, 70 miles east of Dallas. Population, 12,000. Quiet, mostly, but there's commotion about County Judge Linda Wallace, charged with felony tampering with a witness on Wednesday after a grand jury indictment. If convicted, Wallace faces 2 to 10 years in prison.
However, if a person does not have any prior felony convictions, they are eligible for probation.
Van Zandt County District Attorney Tonda Curry appointed special prosecutor on this case after Rains County prosecutors recused themselves to prevent a potential conflict of interest.
It's not unusual for them to recuse themselves, ask a judge to appoint a special prosecutor. Usually that turns out to be somebody from a neighboring county.
According to the indictment, Judge Wallace coerced a clerk to withhold testimony in a case involving her superior, Justice of the Peace Robert Jenkins Franklin. We told you about Franklin back in May. Franklin was indicted on charges of official oppression and tampering with a witness. Franklin allegedly made a death threat to convince a felony suspect to accept.
That is wild. He made a death threat to convince a felony suspect to accept a plea deal. Crazy.
A plea deal. Franklin also allegedly tried to convince his chief clerk to falsify an affidavit. The same clerk, Judge Wallace, allegedly tried to get to withhold testimony.
Yes, it was a county employee.
Judge Wallace bonded out of jail Wednesday morning, 20 minutes after she was booked in. Fox 4 calling her Wednesday evening.
Hi, Linda. This is David Santendri, reporter over at Fox 4 News.
Wallace returning our message, saying no comment.
I don't expect any additional indictments regarding this defendant.
No additional indictments expected. However, ethics questions remain about Judge Wallace and her ties to Justice of the Peace Franklin. Fox 4 obtained court records showing Wallace recused herself from presiding over a case in April after prosecutors raised concerns about her personal bias and impartiality. Prosecutors alleged that Wallace would not sign off on a woman's plea deal for DWI because the state did not offer Justice of the Peace Franklin the same deal when he was arrested for DWI last year. Prosecutors.
Oh yeah, I don't know if she's sleeping with him or something, but she close to him. She said, "No, we ain't gonna give you that plea deal because we ain't offer my mans the plea deal." That's basically what she just said. We can't give you the plea deal because they ain't offer my mans the plea deal. So it's over for you. It's over for you. That's basically what it sounded like to me.
Say Wallace said, "We can't even cover our own." Franklin currently suspended. And even though Wallace resigned, Curry says law dictates she's still county judge for now.
So until there is a new county judge in Rains County appointed, under the law, she can still act as county judge.
See, the laws with judges is weird. Cause I remember I was just watching different shows and stuff like that. This might be wrong. Tell me if this is wrong. But see, I never change these right on time. Tell me if this is wrong. But judges have the right. They can decide if they want to recuse themselves or not. It's up to their discretion if they feel like that their biasness could come into question about the case. They can be like, oh, if a lawyer raises an issue saying that they should recuse themselves from a case because of certain stances, it is that they can decide, if they are biased or if they should recuse themselves, which is crazy to me. It should be like an impartial judge that come out of nowhere and decides, looks at everything and be like, oh, well, I think it's too biased. I think there's just too much connection here. So we're just going to end it right now and send it over into another case. Now that is crazy to me. This is Rains County, Texas. So that one judge, I remember seeing another video. Hold on, let me see if I can find that video of exactly what that Rains County judge, the one who did the death threat, said, because that is crazy. Let's see. So this was a month ago. So let's jump right over into that.
Justice of the Peace is accused of threatening a defendant into taking a plea deal.
His name's Robert Jenkins Franklin. That's the Rains County Justice of the Peace, is now facing multiple charges. The case actually began in 2023. Fox 4's David Santendri is in Rains County tonight with more. David.
Yeah, I've been in contact with someone close to the victim for several weeks now about a recently filed lawsuit, but even that person was surprised, caught off guard to learn that this judge was arrested last night. Rarely do we see a judge criminally charged, but that's what happened Wednesday night to Judge Robert Jenkins Franklin, Justice of the Peace in Rains County, about 80 miles east of Dallas. On May 1st, a man named Kobe Wiebe filed a federal lawsuit against Judge Franklin, claiming that back in October of 2023, Judge Franklin issued him a death threat for a case that the judge was not even presiding over. The claim is, during a 19-second phone call to Wiebe, who was facing a felony charge, Judge Franklin allegedly said, "I heard you have a problem with me, boy. You take that deal, boy, or dead men can't testify." The lawsuit.
That is crazy. Oh, we got to read this back for ourselves because that is wild to me. I heard you have a problem with me, boy. You gotta say it in a southern accent. I heard you have a problem with me, boy. You take that deal, boy, or dead man can't testify. That is, yeah, you need to be in jail. That's all I can say. That is crazy. or dead men can't testify. Now this is on a phone call, a 19-second phone call. I heard you have a problem with me, boy. Why these older white people love to say that? You take that deal, boy. Well, a dead man can't testify. That is crazy.
Says the call happened 2 days before Wiebe chose to take a plea deal for that felony instead of going to trial. But Wiebe later provided phone records showing Judge Franklin called him, and he even took a lie detector test discussing the threat and passed. According to a court filing, the district attorney vacated Wiebe's sentence after it found evidence an elected official coerced him to make the plea. This week, a Rains County grand jury met and chose to indict Judge Franklin charges of official oppression and tampering with a witness for that phone call with Wiebe. Now, the judge is also facing the same charges in a different matter, allegedly trying to convince his chief clerk to falsify an affidavit, as well as pressuring her to testify.
And that's what we were just talking about with that other judge. This is all the same county. Something wrong with that county. I don't know.
In his favor regarding that civil lawsuit.
Seems to go against everything you would expect the judge to be doing.
Russell Wilson, a former Dallas County prosecutor, not connected to this case.
I mean, certainly you've seen a variety of allegations of misconduct made against professionals from all walks of life, including those in the judiciary.
Still, Wilson says it's rare to see a judge charged. He wonders what motive Judge Franklin may have had, and since the judge was not overseeing this case,
could he have gotten a kickback? Kickbacks to get some money from it?
Did he have other connections?
Why would this judge want to try to influence this person in this way?
Judge Franklin posted a $25,000 bond, so he is out of jail. I reached out to his office for comment earlier today, but we have yet to hear back. Now, the district attorney from Van Zant County, that's about 25 miles south of here, I'm told that district attorney will be acting as a special prosecutor for this criminal case. As for Wiebe, we did reach out, but we are told that he does not want to comment at this point in time, as his attorney is out of town, but might be doing so in the future. For now, Steve, Heather, back to y'all.
All right.
Now that is wild. All that to say that anyone can let the power go to their head. Because it sounds like to me he let the power go to his head. He didn't think anything was of it. He said, yeah, boy, you better take that deal. Or because dead men tell no tales. That is crazy. Because dead men can't testify. I wonder why did he? Because it wasn't his case. It was just another case. Maybe he knew someone involved with the case. Maybe they gave him some money, telling, oh yeah, we give you a little money if you can make him not talk or take the deal. Yeah, that is wild. Now the last thing, we're getting up to the end of the show today, the episode 13. Now remember, this is AC the engineer. This AC reviews the world. The focus messing up. The focus is messing up. But remember, this is AC the engineer, and this is AC reviews the world, episode 13. The last thing we're gonna get into. Remember to like and subscribe. Matter of fact, like and subscribe. Look at all my links in the description. All my equipment that I'm using currently. So we'll talk about that. But the last thing, we're gonna do a little lighter, a little happiness. So a dad saves his daughter who fell overboard on a Disney cruise. So I saw this and I was like, yeah, I have to look at this, and we need to bring it for us all together. What Anton Daniel said, let's bring it to the front of the congregation so we can talk about it and discuss it. But a dad saves not surprising. Well, a good dad, difference between dad and father. Well, we're not even going to break all that down, but a good father will do anything for his kids. Risking life and death for his kids. That is what a good father does. So it's not surprising. So let's jump over into that. Let's see. That's right. Yep, that's it. So let's jump right into that, y'all.
A father and daughter who fell overboard on a Disney cruise are headed home tonight.
Fell overboard. One fell overboard.
And then daddy went in.
Jumped overboard after her. They were rescued yesterday. Passengers on the ship say the dad jumped to save his daughter after she fell. Fox's
Not surprised.
Mark Emanuel has a story.
Not surprised at all. My daughter falls overboard on a cruise, which I'm trying to, because I just was on a cruise. I'm trying to think where she could have fell. Like she had to have been climbing up or sitting on top of the railing, because there's always railing that's at least, how tall is it? Probably at least 4 to 5 feet high. She had to have been climbing up on it and then fell, but I don't see how she could just walk and just trip and fall overboard. I'm trying to think of any area on the last cruise that I was on to where that happens. So, but let's keep going.
Passengers capturing the dramatic rescue of 2 overboard cruise ship guests, said to be a father and his young daughter. Crew from the ship's Disney Dream rescue team seen scooping the pair up out of the water and returning them to safety.
Well, we saw the rescue mission. They were very efficient. I mean, we saw them pull the dad and child out of the water within a couple of minutes on a rescue boat and bring them back to the ship.
The incident happened Sunday as the ship was returning to Port Everglades after a 4-night cruise to the Bahamas. Passengers say the girl fell overboard first from the 4th deck, her father jumping in after her. Fellow passengers and people on social media are now calling the dad fearless and a hero.
We noticed the ship turned around.
He's a father, a dad. He's a father. That is what a father does. There's no if and questions about it. Your daughter falls overboard at sea. You jump in. There's no questions about it. You jump in after her. There's no questions about it. No questions.
Actually, and then the rescue boats were in. It was moments.
How the girl initially fell.
Yeah, they talked about that when I was on my cruise. Minutes. They don't matter. They are trained to be at you within minutes. Like they're out there. As soon as the boat is dropped and they are on their way, the people who are immediately go and save you. They have their own crew ready at all times.
Fell is still being investigated. The ship has plexiglass blocking the railings on decks.
On the speaker, they just told us everything was okay, and they didn't tell us much information, truthfully.
The pair reportedly spent 20 minutes in the sea, the father holding his daughter before being pulled to safety.
Just a huge sigh of relief. It could have been a lot worse.
As the investigation continues into how this happened, Disney officials are commending crew members for their exceptional skills and prompt actions, and say this incident highlights the effectiveness of their safety protocols. In Washington, Mike Emanuel, Fox News.
A father and daughter who fell
So
over.
that is absolutely wild. I want to know. I don't know if they have it. Let me see if they have any articles about it. Because most times, anytime I thinking back to the time that I was on a cruise ship, there's plexiglass around the it's like 4 to 5 feet high. I don't understand how unless she was climbing on the rail. Let's see what this article says. Crew to swiftly water. The child, a passenger on the cruise shared the girl, fell from the 4th floor deck. Her dad went in after her. And son swinging MOB man overboard. Okay, so let's look at this little article they got. Let's look at this little article they got. So I'm gonna zoom in some. So it says the Disneyland cruise issues a statement on the incident. They swiftly rescued 2 guests who fell over water within minutes. So the child in question was sitting. Oh, there it is. The child in question was sitting on the rail of the cruise ship while her father was taking photos. See, we're happy that he saved them, but I'm assuming he grabbed her and put her on the rail so they could take a photo. First mistake. Very first mistake. Why would you put your daughter on the rail and just have her sit? Because anything can happen. The winds on cruise ships are crazy. A passenger on the cruise shared that the girl fell from the 4th deck and her father went in after her right after the incident. We heard on the loudspeaker, MOB, man overboard, port side. Thankfully, the rescue team was on it immediately and saved them both. Multiple passengers witnessed the incident, reporting that the father treaded water with his daughter for over 10 minutes. One passenger stated that we were watching with bated breath, basically waiting for what would happen. A passenger, when they did officially get the people, everyone cheered. It was a good moment. His mother, Brenda, the Disney Cruise Line staff was phenomenal. Yeah, they did a good job. The whole thing was maybe 10, 15 minutes, and they safely got back on board. The ship was moving quickly, so quickly it was crazy how quickly the people became tiny dots in the sea. And then you lost sight of them. That is crazy. Yeah, the ship is moving. That ship is hauling. So, yeah, so the daughter, I was thinking, like, how did she fall over? So he placed her up there, and this is my thinking. He placed her up there, sat her on the rail to take a pic. Oh, step back, take a picture. And she fell. He as a father, you got to jump in after her. It don't matter what happened. You got to jump in after her. But sounds to me it was his fault that she fell over in anyway. Because I'm assuming that this is my assumptions. So my assumptions, I'm assuming that he put her up there, which is, you don't think anything bad happened, but not on a cruise ship. I'm not going to sit my daughter on the rail like if I'm sitting on a balcony just to take a picture. No. My young daughter? No, not at all. Not even, I wouldn't even do that because I'm not, we're not going to just risk anything happening because I'm always thinking of what bad could happen. So, but that is good that they were saved. It's very great. It's very good that they were saved. Then 10 minutes. Yeah, the cruise they explained that because you go through, when you do a cruise, you do like a muster station at the very beginning, right before you even go to your room. Basically like the safety. They walk you through the safety video and they walk you through everything to know if an emergency happens. And they talk about how the crew, and I remember talking to somebody, they said, yeah, the crew is efficient. Someone falls overboard, they are on them. 10 minutes. It don't matter what it is, what time of day it is. They are up and about, ready to go. But that is it for the podcast today, the episode 13, AC Reviews the World. Remember to like and subscribe, and give me your comments on any of the things that we talked about today. What are your thoughts? Is 4th of July always going to be like this? You're going to have a bunch of mass shootings and you're going to have some explosions. It's always going to be some fireworks explosions, of course, because we deal with fireworks. That is the 4th of July. But why is everyone so angry? And then remember the Texas flooding. We need to keep everybody in our prayers. I'm going to keep everybody up to date on everything that we talked about. But yeah, keep everyone in Texas in our prayers. They still have a lot of people to find, it sounds like, but the death toll's already reached 100. That is over 100. So absolutely wild. But that is it. Thank you for watching. You're going to see the other videos. But hey, the next video, episode 14, probably going to do more engineering stuff. So we're definitely going to do more engineering stuff. Probably go over some stuff like consolidation. I do love consolidation. But remember, this is AC the Engineer. Thank you for watching. And you already know what I got to do. I got to send it to the outro. But thank you for everybody. And hey, have a good Tuesday. It's about time for me to start work. Let's get into it. Peace.